Hello and welcome to the Engage Finance YouTube channel. Today's video we're going to have a look at commercial valuations, how to assess them and how likely you are to actually get them. So if you like this sort of content, please feel free to drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel, really helps us grow. And if there's any topics that you want us to cover off, please feel free to drop those in the comments and I'm more than happy to cover those in a video. So, commercial valuations, it's a big topic in the property sector. So, you know, by no means am I a valuer. This is just based on my opinion and from what we've seen locally and recently in terms of seeing values come back and valuation packs come back. What we have seen regularly in those to help us assess, rough values for clients when they approach us. So, commercial valuations, as the title suggests, commercial. You need to be finding or presenting a unit that is a commercial unit. So normally this is linked to HMO style properties, and it's normally linked to the larger style HMOs, which tend to be 7-bed plus. Okay. I have seen 6-bed properties that are fully en suite in an area that's got a lot of demand and designed specifically for HMOs, and would make it very difficult to convert back to a single let, have got commercial valuations. You've got to think that if a house is just a 4-bedroom house and all you've done is turn the lounge into another bedroom, okay, that's quite easy for them to flip back to a residential style property. Okay, so that's the sort of way to look at it, as if a valuer walks in and sees actually this is built for commercial, there's 2 hobs, there's en suites, there's multiple bedrooms, it's that sort of thing. Okay, so commercial valuations is based on the area yield, which can vary a lot depending on obviously where you are, but it's usually between 8 to 12%. Okay, that's something you need to look out for and do a bit of research and see what your area yield is. Okay, and I'll come on to how that works, and then basically from what we've seen, this is how you calculate a commercial valuation. So you've got annual rental, minus 10%, which is gives a rough net figure, and then you divide that figure by whatever your local yield is. So for example, let's use 8%, and that's what gives you the commercial valuation figure. So let's have a look at a specific sort of example. So 7-bed HMO rents at £450 per calendar month per room. Okay, that gives us an annual rental figure of 37,800. Minus 10%, 3780 equals 34,020. Okay, so that's the value. Will obviously see that that's what it generates. Take off the 10%, and that gives you the annual figure of 34,020. Then you divide it by the area yield. So for example, 34,020 divided by 8% gives you a figure of 425,250. Okay, so that's the figure that they would be looking at for the 7-bed HMO. If the area yield is 9%, you'd be looking at 378. or anywhere in between. Okay, so that's the sort of, to give you a rough idea of how a commercial valuation is calculated. So there's so many different aspects that can change depending on the area, depending on the valuer, depending on demand. You know, there's so many different aspects. Obviously, that's always going to change, because that could be anything from 300 to 650, I guess. It really depends on what standard the HMO is at. The other thing that can change is the yield. Obviously 8% is a good one, but then 9% gives you a much lower figure. If you start looking at around 12% mark, then obviously that's just going to go lower and lower. So it really depends on what the area yield is. The other aspect that changes is the cost. I've seen some at 10% and I've seen some at 20%. So again, the higher that is, the lower that is. Therefore, when it comes down to this calculation, it's lower again. So there's so many different areas, and that's why there's no set term as to how to assess a commercial valuation. It's very much down to the area, the style of HMO, all these different aspects that we've covered, but hopefully this gives you an idea of what's achievable. The other thing to consider is which type of lender you go to. Okay, so to get these commercial valuations, you've got some of the more residential style lenders that use, the likes of Connells. They just don't seem to be along the right sort of lines with these figures. So you need to approach the right lender based on the property that you've got. And don't always be hung up on commercial valuations. It's rare, but the commercial valuation might come out at 378, for example, whereas a house in that area, just on bricks and mortar, might be 400,000. So you don't need to get hung up on what a commercial valuation is. If you've got comparables in the area, then it is what it is. So, but hopefully gives you an idea. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch.